Okay.
Look out! There's a train coming.
You should,
Hi, everyone. Welcome aboard the Tabletop Express. My name is Anthony. This one here is Chris, and the other one is Ryan.
What up?
This is a very, unique episode of Tabletop Express where I'll be doing the majority of the talking, I guess, for a recap of my time at the Dice Tower Retreat, which was now 2 weeks ago. This stream was originally scheduled for last Wednesday. Some stuff came up. We couldn't do it then. And so here we are.
Yeah.
Bear in mind, that means there's been 7 more days since my brain has seen other stuff. So I may make some mistakes about maybe describing how some of these games play. But I did want you guys to be in on this because there's a lot of these games that I know you either have played before, maybe even many times, or some that you've been curious about. And, there's a pretty wide spectrum of stuff here.
So, this is effectively an extension of last episode where we had our monthly call aboard, what's on your table. And while we were all discussing that, there was stuff literally on your table.
Yes.
For days.
So my August, may have started off slow, but certainly ramped up towards the end. So we're going to talk about most of the games that I played. There's a couple that I'll really just touch on quickly because for one reason or another, we've either talked about it a whole bunch already, or it's just like a little rolling that we don't need to dwell on. But I played anywhere from like 18 to 20-ish games over the course of the days. So for anyone who's not aware of how this event works, it is not a convention in the sense that there are no vendors there. There's really nothing, for sale. There's not things really being demoed or released or anything like that. It is really strictly about the most fun part of the hobby, which is just playing the games.
Nice.
And the amazing part about it is because it is put on by the Dice Tower, their game library is there, and there are upwards of 26-ish hundred games, I think, in their current library. It's pretty amazing. They bring the whole thing in on these giant baking racks, and it's just from one wall to the other, all kinds of games. They have very cool binders there that not only have all the games listed alphabetically, which shelf you can find them on, but they have these cool inserts about things like here's 10, deck building games, or there was literally a category called cute animal games, right? So you would go there, and because there's so many of those now, there's a dedicated page to it, and it's a pretty small gathering of people. I'd say think of it of like maybe like a decent sized wedding. Room, and it is in a big ballroom with, like I said, just a bunch of tables. And it's great because you're really there just to play games. You are going to have a better chance of, say, playing games with people that maybe you've seen on the Dice Tower before, or even other content creators who may be involved as well. Restoration Games is one of the sponsors for the event, so they're always there. And this year, for the first time, All Play is the one of the things they do at the retreat is a key lime pie extravaganza, and All Play is now the official key lime pie sponsor of the Dice Tower. So it's pretty exciting stuff.
Wait, so they just give the Dice Tower key lime pie?
Well, I mean, so Tom is very, he's a connoisseur of that dessert.
Okay,
it's his favorite. So he's got some connections with the good stuff.
The key lime connection.
Well, Key West isn't too far.
Right. So for the first time, this event was actually in Orlando this year. All previous years that I've been, it was in Miami.
Oh,
so was that for travel purposes or just easier booking? Do you know?
Well, I think it's a double-edged sword for them, right? When it's in Miami, they obviously can like go home every night and not have to stay at a hotel. But the hotel resort that this event was at is also where they already hold Dice Tower East every year.
Oh, okay.
So I think it kind of just made more sense for them to deal with the same venue for more than one event.
Cool.
And it was an extremely nice resort. I will say that. Caribe Royale in Orlando. Look it up. It was pretty cool. So that's a kind of a backstory on how this, event sort of works. And I'm going to go into some games that I felt stood out. What I liked about this trip was I got a chance to play some new, popular hotness games. I got a chance to teach a couple of older, classic games. And I even got to, play a bunch of games that I've never played before.
Nice.
One of which
is
the first one I'm going to talk about. And that is a game by designer Elizabeth Hargrave called The Fox Experiment. If you know anything about my taste in games, you know Wingspan is one of my favorite top 1, 2, 3 games of all time. So I have been wanting to check out The Fox Experiment for quite some time, based on that track record of hers. And this game really did not disappoint. This is based on a real concept, the Fox Experiment, which are currently still sort of in progress. And I'll quickly tell you that it's really about trying to domesticate the fox animal to the point where they, actually started to take on traits of domesticated dogs. And that plays heavily into the game because in the game, you'll be breeding male and female foxes to make fox pups that are going to have these various traits based on what their parents' traits are as well, and how well you roll the dice. And then you'll breed this new pup that'll get its own set of sort of traits that then will become a parent for a future turn. So there's a cool thing where you kind of you sort of make this fox pup in front of you and you kind of control what attributes it has to an extent, but then you're sort of giving it up into the wild and with the chance that maybe you will get it back to breed with again for another generation, or maybe another player might take it.
Well, that's interesting. So what you're helping with the breeding of it, but once it is going to go back into the wild. So you're not guaranteed.
No,
it's not like you're building it out for you to get it.
But if that's your angle, and if you want to do that, there are ways to try to ensure that you get sort of first pick in the next round. So there's a good amount going on in this game. You start with a really basic sort of action selection where you have one of 3 things to do, which is take a male fox, take a female fox, or take one of those
they're good pitch
tokens there that I would tell you which your player order would be. Maybe that one on the bottom left.
This one?
Yeah, check out that one.
Yeah,
there you go. Those gears along the top there. Those are the little pieces you'll be drafting as well. And basically everybody's going to do that. And when they have their special token that they took and their 2 foxes that they're breeding with, you're going to roll all the dice. So the dice are these different symbols based on the different traits of the foxes, and they all have either a whole symbol of their type or say a half a symbol of it. Some of them have 2 halves, but sort of pointing outwards, if that makes any sense. Because then what you're doing is you're arranging them by type, and you either have, a whole purple one, or maybe you've got 2 half purples, which go together to make another purple one. Then there's all these friendly dice that you have, which are basically wild. So you can roll those as well. So there's a bit of an engine building too. I feel like I try to get a lot of friendly dice early in the game, and then more friendly tokens, which also count as wilds. Because what you're going to do is you're going to roll all those dice, fill in those traits on that fox pup card. Then you get to name the pup anything you want. These are dry erase. These cards.
I saw a classy.
Oh, farts! There you go.
First picture.
Classic. I mean, he looks like a fart.
Yeah,
I guess. So yeah, you'll see along that card there's a different color traits.
Yeah.
And then there's a row of each one that alternates between, square, circle, couple circles. The squares are how you get more dice. The circles are how you get the tokens.
Oh, okay.
When you're done with the dice and breeding and putting them all together and adding all that stuff up, you get a friendliness score. So Fart has currently a friendliness score of 6.
Cool.
That's also, which I found out cool in the rule book, part of how they would decide which pups to use as the next generation. They tried to pick the friendliest ones, hoping that those traits would sort of, make their way down to the next generation. So you'll get a pretty big advantage if you have the most friend points on that current pup, because then you'll get first turn order and such and such and such. So you do all that, you get those points, you clear them out, and then you set up a new set of parents, including the ones that you just did, and you do that again. That's the gist of the game. There's a couple of other spots that you can go to or tokens you can get, which allow you to attract these patrons that want to see certain types of foxes. And then you have these little study cards that you're trying to fill out as well. A lot of fun. I really did enjoy this one. And I think multiple plays would be, continue to be enjoyable.
You saw replayability with
absolutely,
sure.
absolutely.
Doesn't surprise me based on designer. And again, this one I've only seen from afar. It's kind of on that list of games from, I think this is 2023, right?
This came out in 2023.
Yeah, it's this existing game on my list of games I probably still need to play at some point.
Yeah.
It didn't jump out to me as like I needed to own it right away at the time, but it's definitely one like even at a PAX Unplugged or something I would hope to get to.
So Danielle brought up that the other Ryan, which I think is it's either Squirrel or Mr. Rao.
Right. I believe it's Squirrel.
Probably Squirrel. Taught me this game and it was a lot of fun, super thinky.
Yeah.
And Eddie said it's probably the last time, by the way, you saw Roy as a Dice Tower member because he announced his departure.
Yeah. I didn't really have a chance to talk to him. But we were talking about that before we went on stream.
Yeah.
So good for Roy. That's awesome. That's one of the things I'll say about the Dice Tower Network. It has its ups and downs, and people, have some complaints about it, but you can't argue with the impact that it has. First of all, it is a lot of people's first foray into learning about this new hobby.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of, people who have come in and out of the network and have gone on to do amazing things. And, I think that's what Tom envisioned with this. So congrats to Roy. Yeah, for sure. But Fox Experiment did not disappoint. Definitely would recommend this one. So right now, it's my favorite game of the retreat.
Really?
Well, because it's the first one I thought.
Oh, okay. All right.
Will it be dethroned?
We're doing an
King of the Hill.
King of the Hill. So right now, Fox Experiment number 1.
Next up, I had a chance to play a game and sort of teach it, although I wasn't as good of a teacher as the first time that we learned it when I think you read most of the rules, which is the White Castle.
Ooh.
So mind you, I think the time that we played, 3 of us, I think it was a 4.
It was a 4-player
game.
Did you do a 3-player game?
This was a 3-player game.
Oh, that must have been the best.
It was good. I mean, it's very, as you remember, it is a very tight game. You have 9 turns in the entire game.
Yep.
To really, get the most out of what you're trying to accomplish here. I did fumble through the rule book a little bit because I forgot how much stuff was going on with the symbology and
tons of it.
I didn't have that super clear from last time. But really did enjoy, the placement of it. I tried to be a little more strategic this time around, especially when it came to the bridge gardener sort of actions there. Getting in there early was kind of clutch, right? Because there were points that you could get there more than once. Later on in the game.
That is definitely clutch.
Mm-hmm. And I think both the people I taught it to enjoyed it. Everyone comes away with it with a similar feeling of, I wish I had one more turn.
Yeah.
Right. Or I was just about to do, XYZ. And for some people don't like that. Some people really do like that because it is, like I said, very, very tight. But yes, I did enjoy my second play of this, and I was glad to get it to the table. Again, for the record, I did win this game, but it was extremely close. 2-point differential between first, second, and third place.
Wow!
So not only a very tight game, but a very tight score at the end. So
yeah, and I love too, like about this game, how variable based it is, because every spot could be completely different from game to game based on how the cards are dealt. So yeah, I'm glad you got to play it.
Yeah, I'm glad I got to play it again too. It secured it as a good game for me, as one that I can say now that I definitely enjoy.
Yeah, Tyler brought up as a top 10 for him.
Yeah. Expansion. Okay, do we know anything about the expansion for this?
It's Mocha, or is that the?
Let's see.
I know I saw the expansion.
The expansion is called Matcha.
That's
Matcha. And I have no idea how it's going to fit into the box.
Interesting.
Because that box is. Dude. How was putting it back? Actually,
it was. I'm so glad you brought that.
Yeah,
it was like
it's so tight.
A bonus game to play after you played the White Castle.
Putting it back
was
in the box.
So hard. Oh my god! And I'm pretty sure. I don't remember if there were any upgraded components or not.
Won't fit into the box.
No, there's no way.
There's no way. No, but not possible.
And it's so funny. Actually, later on, the table right next to us was also playing it. And watching them try to put it away was equally as
it's too funny,
as frustrating for us to just watch it because we felt their pain. But yeah, matcha. So we're gonna have some tea, I guess, in the castle as well. It's interesting.
And you get more turns.
You get more turns?
Yeah, you get an extra turn each round.
Oh, cool.
New members of your clan achieve greater level of influence in the court. and one additional action.
One additional action.
Will that be enough? Interesting.
Because it's 3 rounds, yeah.
And Chewy is correct there, because this is exactly how I thought it might be. Red Cathedral then has Contractors, which are 2 separate boxes. Like Red Cathedral, which I own, does not
super
fit.
tight.
Does not fit in. You couldn't fit the expansion.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Fox Experiment or White Castle?
I think it's still Fox Experiment for me. That was just, I guess, because it was fresher, it was different, and it felt more fun. And again, not to compare it to Wingspan, but I think this was the game that right after Wingspan.
Well, there was Mary Post.
Oh, duh, that's right. Mary Post was there too. Yeah, but not. This is not like Wingspan with foxes. Like it is very much a completely different game.
Cool.
Cool. So that is the White Castle. The next one is a biggie, and I mean this is one of the biggest boxes I've ever seen. Foundations of Rome.
Oh yeah, tell me about this one.
So my 2 friends who went on this trip with me, they have this game at home, and apparently there is another version of this that is nowhere near as massive and plasticky as this one is.
Oh, so you played you played the insanely up one.
The first, yes. This is from a couple years ago.
Okay. Yeah. So just right, it takes up a full cube on the Kalax. I'm pretty sure, right?
Absolutely. It's one of those boxes that you sort of open it like almost like sideways.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, because everyone has their own tray.
Nice.
Everyone has their own tray of these buildings.
Cat for frame of reference.
There you go. Fantastic. Cats.
You
can fit 2 cats in that box, at least, maybe not 3.
There's one over here.
Oh my god, I didn't see that one.
I know.
That's cool.
Goodness.
So yeah, Foundations of Rome is it looks like it'll be super, I don't know, like a heavy civilization game or something. It's really not. It's really about building these different types of buildings that will score in different ways, to the point where once the board starts to get filled up, adjacency really comes into play in terms of how buildings will score, because a lot of them, I don't know if you guys have ever played Suburbia.
Yeah. Yes.
So in Suburbia, a lot of your buildings and your tiles will be affected by everyone's town, not just yours. And that is really what's going on here. I think you'll love this game, Ryan, because of what I just said. The player interaction is huge on this.
Oh, is it?
Okay, because before you even get any of these things, you're sort of just doing these little plots on this grid. So it's a maybe 10 by 10 grid. And for a player count, it'll be a smaller grid.
It's like an 8 by 8.
Play with, is it? Yeah. Oh yeah, that does say 8. Never mind. You won't play with all of them, I think, in a lower player count. But there's like some commerce buildings and civilian buildings and another type, and I forget which one, but they're all these different colors. So you're doing these little plots of land first, and sort of like in tiny towns where you sort of have to have the layout first,
the layout,
and then you can do the building.
Yeah.
But then you could also upgrade the building later to a larger one, or you can combine 2 buildings to make a larger one. You can replace these buildings with a different kind, right? So it's really strategic, because again, some of them are going to score based on what's around them, and then based on like sort of a majority on each side as well, because there was these roads expansions that we played with as well. So you might be doing really well with this one building because it's surrounded by 3 things that make it score, but then a couple of rounds in, somebody replaced that building with a different type, and now it doesn't give you those points that you thought it did before. You can also sort of bargain and kind of straight up steal sometimes plots of land. This was not a short game. This one we did play with 4 players, and there's certainly an opportunity for some AP when you're thinking of what to do and when to do it. But this was really, really enjoyable. I think you guys would like it a lot.
But this one's light, as Eddie's saying in the chat.
It is. Yes.
It's the gameplay itself. Obviously, the box itself is heavy, but
the insert is fantastic because it not only has everything that you need in it, and also when you put it back, it shows you exactly where to put the things, so you're not struggling to put things back. It shows you right under them, like when you take a building off, it tells you underneath what the building does also. So you see, that one's worth 2 points per whatever building is attached to it, or what have you. And like I said, we had a little expansion as well, which did a lot of end of round influence for each side of the grid that we were building on.
But this one, Roads of Fortune.
Yep, Roads of Fortune. There's basically like a cardboard strip. Yep, put one on each side, and they all do different things based on who has the most, squares in that one side of the grid. So that was something else to keep in mind. You were certainly planning when to put out buildings and when to hold on to them, and maybe when to switch them out.
Really, I've always been put off on so I want to talk about this because I've always been put off about the price of this.
Well, how much is it?
I forget how much it is. It's definitely over 100.
Yeah, I mean
but like, is this game worth that? Especially with like the other one that's coming out.
So the other one is not set in Rome. It's more like a metro area,
right?
And
which is Tyler's talking about because he just won the new version.
Oh, okay. And these are not 3D. These are flat,
yeah,
polyomino shapes.
And like, is the fun of it just the toy factor?
I mean, it is for sure.
If the toy factor is gone, would you still enjoy the game?
Probably.
Okay.
Probably. I don't think it's
look,
worth that
much. $300 all in.
The game's not that good.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait. It's not worth it, but we can get together and play. Eddie, did you buy this game?
Do you have the big one?
Yeah, regrets.
He did say it's gorgeous, so there we go.
Goodness.
So there we have a solution.
Think about it. You're basically, I don't know what's the player count of this, up to 4 or 5, but you're basically getting 4 sets of buildings, so you're getting a lot.
Yeah, it's
of
a lot
plastic
of plastic
in this for sure.
Yeah, and the thing is with Emerson Matsuuchi, I never have been crazy about any of his designs.
Okay,
like I've played Spectre Ops, I've played Century Spice Road, the second one. It was Eastern Wonders or whatever.
Right? The second and the third one are Century Spice, and the other ones are all connected. Because I like Century Spice, but the other ones didn't do much for me.
Yeah, so I never really got into any of them. That's why I was kind of pushing out Foundations of Rome.
Sure,
but I still did pre-order Metal Gear Solid board game because I'm a shill to sell my piece. So yeah.
Where does this one land for you so far, though? Because you talked about 2 other ones.
5 players.
Yeah. 5 players, yeah. So you're
and Emerson Matsuuchi is a Long Islander.
Hey, that's
there you go.
Interesting. Cool. Is this more or less fun than the other 2 games? I don't know. It's a lot of fun. It's a big scoring game, but I think Fox Experiment is maybe a little more fun.
All right.
There we go. Fox is on top still.
Next up were a couple of small card games, one of which the 3 of us did play a few weeks ago, and that's Trio.
I didn't play Trio.
You didn't play Trio? Oh, wait, no, that was at the board game sale.
Yeah, we were at a board game sale, but
I
played. I forget who we played with, but we definitely played with others. Oh, we played with some of the locals who stopped by.
Yeah.
Some locals who stopped by who came by to buy some board games.
This one is pretty enjoyable. It's pretty simple. It's sort of a combination of an old like kids memory matching game, combined with a hand of cards. There's only 3 of each number in the whole deck, and you're essentially trying to collect sets of 3. The sets of 7, because it's right in the middle of the stack, is like an instant win because that's the hardest one to get. So you'll set up everybody to get a hand of cards, and then there's a grid of I think maybe 8 cards that are face down in the middle of the table. And when it's your turn, you can ask any player to show you their highest card or their lowest card in their hand.
Oh, that's why it's hardest.
Yeah, because if you have a 7, your 7's always going to be in the middle. Yeah, at the start.
And so you're doing that based on obviously the cards that you have in your hand because you're trying to get the 3 of a kind. In addition to asking other players, you can also flip over one of those ones that are face down in the middle of the table.
Yep.
So it becomes this. All right, I know that Chris showed me his lowest card was a 3, and I'm going to flip this up. Oh, it's an 8. Never mind. Future turn. I ask Chris again. He still has 3 as his lowest card. I pick up another one. Ooh, look at that. I found a 3. Now I get to keep going because I matched. So if I can find that last 3, I got a trio.
Oh, I see.
Okay. The cool thing is, though, you can still ask the person the same question. So, like, if I ask Chris what his lowest card is and he shows me the 3, I can ask him again right after that, show me your next lowest card. And if he has another 3, now I just revealed
Yep.
2 3s, right? And that'll change obviously as the game goes on too.
Yeah, it plays incredibly smooth. This was one that got mentioned on the show previously by Ruel, who had called in under its original name, I guess.
Nana.
Yeah,
that's right.
So we originally learned about this game then, and I remember Ruel talking about coming to the States with Trio. So yeah,
and Darby brought up, got to check the backs of a new deck, had to return mine. The foil was speckled on the back of 7s.
Oh, good. Yikes.
That's not good.
No, that's a giveaway. We don't want that. Yeah.
It's fast. I mean, if you can get all the 7s, you're gonna win. And if not, I forget. I think you need 2 trios. There's some of them that have like a complementary trio. So like you can see in that picture on those 2 1 cards on the left, there's also a 6 in the bottom corner. Yeah. So I believe the rule is if you get a trio of 1s and 6s, you would win the deck.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Yeah, we had played 1 or 2 quick games of this. I know that we had done, and you've played opposite Retreat. So this is one that's like, I think MSRP is like $14.99. Yeah, so it's like this is one of those. As you get to the holiday season, this is a great option for a stocking stuffer.
Absolutely.
Right, because we're looking at the Christmas one.
Yeah,
there was Nana Christmas.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That was because I remember ordering it on eBay, and then the guy had to cancel it because he couldn't ship it.
Yeah,
because these cards are nice. I like the artwork on the
right here, cards. The Christmas version.
Ooh,
yeah,
very cool.
But again, makes for great, in my opinion. Even if you're just doing the trio, it's a great stocking stuffer in my opinion.
Now, was it better?
No.
We'll get
there.
Christmas is rare.
Oh, gracious. Extra rare.
Oh man,
yikes!
I almost had it.
You're so close.
What do the cards look like? They show any more pictures of that, or just the cover?
There probably is pictures online of it. But
all right, so I played a couple games of that. Followed that up with 2 games of another small card game that I had never played before. This one's called Inside Job.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So this is a hidden role game where players are either an agent of some kind, or I forget what the terminology is. Maybe it says spy, or it's something like that. And you're sort of playing cards collectively to sort of reach this threshold to either, to complete the mission. But you may be playing cards to sort of, deter people from suspecting you, or perhaps that's exactly what you want them to think. There's also different types of agents that you can add into the mix to mix up the roles a little bit. I really forget the specifics on this one, but we did play it twice. The first time that we played, I was the insider, and I successfully fooled everyone and won.
Nice.
Therefore, making my second play much more difficult because nobody would trust me. But I ended up.
What are the odds you would be?
I was straight edge the next game, and
but they knew how well you played it the round before.
But I still won. I won as the bad guy, and then I won as the team the next time.
I love that.
Yeah,
that is fantastic.
And I apologize. I'm doing a very poor job of explaining actually a little more details of the gameplay of this. It's really slipping my mind.
Is it trick taking, or
it's got intel token?
It is trick taking. So there'll be things like, okay, the mission will succeed if we get XYZ. So kind of like the crew-ish sort of stipulations.
That's what I was wondering, if it's got that.
So someone sabotage.
You can almost call it, I guess, like the crew with like a saboteur.
Okay.
I guess would be a good way to describe it.
Interesting.
So mostly cooperative trick taking.
Yeah. Good times. And shout out to Sean, who taught us. Well, it was his copy of Trio, and then he also taught us Inside Job, which was his copy as well.
I'm taking it this has not passed.
No.
Anything.
But we're on to day 2 now, and this is where some of the heavy hitters are going to come in.
All right.
First one of that new day was Forest Shuffle.
Okay.
Now,
I've never played in person,
but you both have played it on BJ. Is that
correct?
Okay. So I've only played it in person. There's another one that my friends who I went with actually brought it with them as well to the hotel. But I put a lot of stock into their opinions of games, and especially when it comes to how something plays at 2 in particular. and they said they were having a great time with this one. So I was eager to check this out. So one thing I will add that I forgot to mention about the way the retreat is set up, and I think other cons do this as well. They have these flags that you can put on your table, which either mean you're looking for players or teacher, or sometimes both if you have both flags. So we saw someone with I want to play this game with some people flag. He had Forest Shuffle out, so we sat down and gave it a whirl. This one is really, really cool. You're basically growing, this forest and populating it in front of you in your tableau. You're going to be playing these different types of trees out. And then in addition to that, there's these wildlife cards that have a split on them. So they're either left and right or up and down.
Yeah.
That have all different types of organisms and creatures in this forest. You can attach usually one to each side of the tree card. And there are some exceptions. But basically, it's how many points can I get with this combination of stuff?
Yep.
If I have this bear here and I have at least one mouse, or a boar, sorry, not bear, that boar is going to be worth 10 points. If I don't have that mouse, it's not worth any points. Even the trees have a bit of a set collection to them. There are some cards that say, if you're the only one with this type of tree, you'll get these points. So you got to look at what other players have in their forest as well. There's some iconography and some color issues that I know some people have expressed a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like it sounded like the blues were.
Yeah, there's like a blue and then sort of like a metallic-ish lighter blue. There are different symbols on the colors to make them also look different, but sadly, those two icons are also kind of similar shaped.
This icon, right?
It's that one and the regular blue one, yeah.
And this is true because I looked at because I think
it was Tyler who said it on the Discord.
Yeah, and I remember looking at one of the physical cards.
Yeah, it's that one on the top. Yeah.
They are very similar.
But yeah, so I like this game. It's cool because in order to play a lot of these cards down, some of them are free, but a lot of them have a cost to them, and so it's a hand management thing where you're saying, all right, this card I really want it down, but it's going to cost me 2 cards. I got to discard these 2. When you do that, though, you're discarding them to this central area of the forest where other players can then choose from there.
Right.
When that gets to 10 cards, I think it washes out. But then there's animals that you can kind of take all those cards and hide them, like the bear, I think, does that. Basically, just getting like tucked card points at the end of the game. So a ton of combinations here. It's funny. This day of the retreat was when Nerds Day was going on as well, like Game Nerds with their sale.
Oh yeah,
they were having. So you could see a lot of people on their phones at that time, and I actually bought Forest Shuffle while playing Forest Shuffle.
Oh, cool.
So that is now in my collection.
Yeah, I was wondering how it would play in person because I actually playing on BGA the last couple times. It was great because I don't need to do the end game scoring.
Yes,
and the app, the BGA just does that.
I could totally see that.
Yeah,
I could totally see that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm a sucker for nature games, nature themes. I love the combos and how things work off each other. Some of the cards have an even extra like bonus action that you can do if you pay for it with a specific color.
Yeah.
That allows you to do more stuff too. Forest Shuffle is gonna top Fox Experiment.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how was the scoring? How was the scoring? Because that was is it really not that bad? It's just like anything. It's just
it's no different. Yeah, it's no different than any other game that has multiple columns or rows on a score sheet. Oh, let's look at this. I mean, you're really just doing each tree and then each animal. Definitely would be convenient to that.
This is one I put in that category of I think about it as a good game for the library.
Yeah.
Because nature, etc. fits in.
And there's a ton of cards, and because there's 2 animals on every card, you're not going to see every animal every time you play. I had a few butterflies, which were a good set collection.
This picture had that, or it shows a multi.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
I could also see my family loving this game.
I think so.
That's I see my family really enjoying this one.
I think so.
So Forest Shuffle is the best Fox on the cover board game you played.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh my god, I didn't even think of that. FoxCon.
All
right. Cool. Next up is a game that we've definitely talked about before on the channel. Yeah. Although it was my first play of it. And that is Apiary from Stonemaier Games, and Connie Vogelman, who was on the channel for Creators Corner.
You
had the pleasure of interviewing her. Yeah, and we saw her at PAX Unplugged when she was demoing this, and I finally got it to the table. It's Bees in Space, and it is a, middleweight worker placement game, mid to heavyweight worker placement game, with a bunch of different places that you can go with your workers, who are these square-shaped bee pieces that kind of look like dice. I guess
they look really cool.
They are really cool.
They're really
this right here. Right? This I saw this picture. Where was it? Go back.
So close.
There it is. There it is.
They're so cool.
Yeah. So they have values on them that are going to change throughout the game, because basically what's going on here is you have these bees and you're going to put them out of these different spaces, and as other people take those spots, they're going to bump you off the board or down to a lower spot in some cases. But that's what I like about this as a worker placement game, is nothing is ever blocked.
Correct.
But what is the price you pay? Well, when you bump another bee off of a spot, that bee goes back to that player, but their value is going to increase by 1. That's important because there's 1 through 4 power values of the bees. Some of the worker spots that you can go to let you do something, and if it's a 4 strength bee that you have there, do something else. Okay. In addition to that, there's at least 1 space, there might be more than 1, that you must have a 4 to even get to.
Okay.
And that's the carve action. That's that yellow
right
area.
here?
No, that's grow. Well, first of all, it's in Spanish.
Yeah.
But that's grow. That's carve. Yeah, the one in the middle right there. Those are all a lot of endgame scoring types of tiles.
Cool.
But essentially, you get a mat to start that has this sort of hex outline for the way your hive looks, in addition to a starting faction. And yeah, you're going to be collecting some basic resources by exploring space with that giant bee ship that's going to uncover things.
Which is one of my favorite parts. I love the exploring space action.
It's cool. Yeah. There's so much to do in this game. There really is. You want to get those resources, and you can go to these other spots that are going to let you upgrade them into better resources like honey and wax, where you can get those more expensive tiles. There's different farming tiles you're going to put in your hive, and there's all hexes, development ones that let you do better things. Then there's the blue ones are like I forget what they call them. They're different bees. They're citizens basically that again do different things. So another looking at your own tableau, what's going to benefit me more having next to this thing and this thing. My starting mat, they're all the unique starting mats. There's only 5 of them. So I know we've talked about how this game we thought didn't really need an expansion because it had so much stuff in it already. Yeah. And it does have a ton of factions. But those starting mats, I want more of those.
Which is, I think, a big reason why the expansion exists. It's interesting, too, because I've played this solo, and I've only played this solo, but off of one solo play, I kind of put this as my 3rd favorite Stonemaier.
Okay.
And my second, and it's really Scythe Expeditions in this. And strangely enough, I've played Expedition solo and really like it.
Okay.
I played Apiary and liked it solo, but I want to play it with people.
Yeah.
Because it's going to thrive, I think. But I felt, and then Viticulture kind of has dropped down to that 4 spot.
We'll do it.
Yeah. So no, it's really good.
We have to play this because, and with the base game is enough for me for a while.
Oh, definitely.
But I will in the long run want that expansion. But I'm glad you got a chance to play this with people because
it was just meaty enough for me. I really enjoyed the the different spots that you could go to and how you could take advantage of the types of tiles that you started with. My starting mat was cool because some of the spaces were discounted. So if I put a farm space here, it cost me 1 less resource. If I built this thing here, it cost 1 less honey, whatever. So I was filling that up, and then you can expand the hive with these bigger, hexes and things like that. A lot going on here. Definitely enjoyed Apiary, and I liked it more than the Fox Experiment. So it is the current.
Whoa, well, better than
King of the Bees.
Forest Shuffle.
Oh, better than Forest Shuffle. Yes, sorry. So from Foxes to Bees,
Bees win.
Bees in space are going to win every time because they're huge. All right.
Tyler, by the way, yeah, you're right. I didn't put Rolling Realms. For some reason, Rolling Realms always slips in mind that's a Stonemaier game because it's so many other games.
Yeah.
So I have to reevaluate what I just said. But yeah, Rolling Realms in there.
All right. I'm going to fly through some stuff now, only because me personally, I'm in a bit of a time crunch tonight. So I apologize if I talk really fast, but I do want to get through a couple more of these. I played a game called Agueda, which I think just came out this year.
City of Umbrellas.
City of Umbrellas. This was what I wanted to check out.
Cool.
It is a beautiful looking game. It really is. It is really just about building these patterns of the umbrellas on your player board. You're sort of drafting them from this market in this sort of
looks so nice
triangular shaped, umbrella stand sort of thing. And then you'll see there you get these 3 kind of spots where you're going to be scoring for that particular color umbrella in that row. But at some point, you're going to shuffle those. So like the one on the bottom is going to move to the top and move those 2 down. So you're trying to maximize your points that way. Additionally, on your left there, when you uncover a certain type of umbrella, or where you place it rather, you turn over one of these mural pieces, and you're going to get bonuses for that too. And it's how you get more tourists to kind of put out and score there. It was really nice and it was fun. I think it was a little underwhelming for me. It was, like I said, very pretty, aesthetically pleasing to look at. But there wasn't a whole lot going on in terms of gameplay. The umbrellas are really cool and they really are easy to pick up, which is nice. It's got that sort of starbursty azul sort of sort of feel to it. That's Agueda. And I think there was actually another umbrella game that I saw on the shelf too that I didn't get a chance to play. But so that was Agueda. Pretty good, but definitely not better than Apiary. All right, next up was a really cool experience for a couple of reasons. One is probably one of the oldest games that I played at the retreat. Second thing, one of my friends who came with me, he had wanted to play this game 2 retreats ago, and we just never got a chance to, and that's Broom Service. Not only did we finally play it, but the Dice Tower's own Chris Yee taught and played with us this game, one of his favorites. So this was a cool experience all around. Have either of you guys played Broom Service?
I don't, but were you a brave witch or a cowardly witch? Because that's what you have to say every turn or something, right?
Yep. Yeah, everybody gets the same set of cards, maybe like 10 or 12. It's not a lot. And each of them is a different character, and they have 2, sides to them, cowardly or brave. So you'll play a card as a lead player, and you'll say, I'm a cowardly wizard or whatever the character is.
Yeah.
If you proclaim yourself as cowardly, you do that cowardly action right away. However, you can also say that you're the brave, whatever this person is. And if you're the last person to say that, you get that brave action.
Right.
But if not, you don't get to do any actions.
So you gotta be very careful.
Very careful. On top of that, you only have a hand of, I think, 4 cards at a time. And so if you play if you want to be a cowardly fruit gatherer, if I don't have the fruit gatherer card, I can't do anything anyway. Yeah. So you're not playing a card on every turn.
Got it.
It's wild. What are you doing with these people is you're collecting resources from different spots on the board, but also you're sort of making these potions and then delivering them. It is very much a pick up and deliver game to different spots on the board, to different towers for different amounts of points. And yeah, that's the whole game. It's a lot of fun. We played with, I think, 5 people for that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it was a 5-player game. Like I said, including Chris. And another thing I will say, compliments to the Dice Tower staff about how inclusive they are and how much they really want everybody to feel welcome and participate in stuff. We were setting up for the game, and Kenny of the Dice Tower came over with this woman and said, "Hey, this is Hadra. Her husband is off playing, I forget, something, Civilization giant game. She's new to games. Do you mind if she plays with you guys?" And it was great because she had just gotten into this. Like, she just got married. Oh, yeah. He just taught her all these games. She played Azul and Ticket to Ride and all this stuff. And so she played Broom Service, and it was a lot of fun.
Nice.
It's a cool follow the leader, but don't be too cocky kind of thing. I think you would like it.
All right.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
After that was a quick game of Harmonies, which you had taught me once, so I was glad to get that onto the table again. That one is definitely going to be on my wish list, I think.
Yeah.
This is a great combination of sort of Cascadia type thing, with almost like a Reef 3D sort of tower, stacking thing. What I like more about this than, say, Reef for sure is that you're setting up these tiles in your little tableau area to satisfy these things on these cards, but you can kind of do more than one thing at the same time. Like just because you scored this pattern in this one way and put this animal out there to live there, that mountain feature can score you for this other animal that you're trying to get as well. And you're really trying to maximize the synergy there. And it's a ton of fun. It's got a similar feel to like Azul, where you're taking a pile of the things and you got to put them into your area. And then again, if you meet that requirement, you have these different animals you're trying to place in your habitat that have all these little cubes on the side. And as soon as you satisfy their design on their card, you can take one of their cubes, put them in your spot. And if you do it again, you can take the next cube and get even more points for that. Much like you said, I taught with the spirit or whatever animals from the get-go.
Just right from the get-go.
Yeah, really you don't need to hide those.
Absolutely not. Yeah. But this one went over very well. So yeah, I can't wait to play this one again. I really enjoyed this.
For those who have either they didn't hear when I said the first time, or maybe have never heard me say it because you've newer to the show, I will just say I took this game home to play it with my wife. And when I went to bring it back here, my wife said, "That's coming back, right?"
Mm-hmm.
At which point I purchased it from her. Because, and so, this has a perfect synergy of, I think you just said it. It has the things I liked about Reef, which I had sold at that point, and things I liked about Reef, that stacking part, which is always a lot of fun, and trying to score in a certain way. It had a certain vibe that Cascadia has
with the animal parts,
and the pulling pieces and picking the three I want to take felt like that Azul. What a perfect combination.
It was a harmony.
There's definitely a harmony there. Yeah, great.
Do you enjoy this game?
I do. I do. Yeah. Honestly, I like it better than Cascadia.
Okay.
Personally.
Okay.
I think of the games of that ilk, like fulfilling different recipes and in tile placement form.
Sure.
I definitely gravitate towards this one.
Cool.
Before we go to your next one, I know we're quick on time here, but I want to call out Tyler's because I do love this. The story you did tell. Really, that's what gaming is.
And I gotta say, it was interesting because there were some things that she really sort of did struggle with that game, where there were times where she would play a card and it would be like, oh, well, you're not in that area. You can't do that thing. And so you could see that it was really the next step game for her.
Right.
Based on the other things that she had played.
Right.
So there was, it was
even though it was next step for her. It just goes to show you where people can be at different levels at the time.
Totally. So. I taught a very old game called Dominion that you may have heard of. Played with, I don't know, most of the base Kingdom cards. I think I chose stuff that I knew how it played, so as to kind of cut down on teach time a little bit.
Classic.
But everybody enjoyed that, so that's that's classic Dominion. It's a deck building game. Next up is what I'm really excited about. This is a game that is currently on Kickstarter. It's called 23 Knives. So this is put out by Play to Z Games, which is Zev Schlashinger's company. Zev of Z-Man origination. The Z-Man.
He is the Z-Man.
And so this one's on Kickstarter right now. It is pitched as a social manipulation game. And that is very specific. And it's funny that that's the way it's presented, because Zev and I talked about how both of us are not always too keen on social deduction games overall. I like them to an extent, but there's a lot of times where I feel like I'm just not good at lying or hiding something, or I miss the group think and I'm on a different wavelength than everybody else. And I kind of feel like I don't know what I'm doing. in this game, the whole premise is we're leading up to, the Ides of March when Caesar is going to be killed. Now, in a sort of, fantasy way that you might be able to stop that from happening in this game. Because you're going to be dealt a citizen identity that you are, where you are either loyal to Caesar, or you want to see a new republic, or you're what they call an opportunist. So the long story short is you're going to be traveling around this board, going to these different spots, and either drawing or playing these fate cards that also have some knives on them and some doves on them. And it's got a Shadows over Camelot sort of feel in that you can travel around the board to do different things, but you can play influence on people. You can go call for a vote to expel someone if you suspect them from being a certain way that you don't want them to be. And then you're constantly moving up this, sort of knife up the track to where, this final verdict is going to be folded out and see is he going to live or is he going to die? And it was only a 4-player game, but it was really, really tense. You didn't always know what was going on. The cool part, though, is that every couple turns, you have this vote on these 2 issues at hand where you vote secretly and then reveal, and one of those 2 things kind of takes place. And those things vary. There's a lot of aspects in them, like werewolf, right? So one of the cards would be like, okay, everyone closes their eyes. If you're a loyalist, open your eyes and you look around and see if anybody else is a loyalist, and you close your eyes and everybody opens. So there's this sort of subtle revealing of some information throughout the game, but you're always going to be suspicious of everybody. End of the game is this definitely stand-up moment because you take all those cards that have been played into that pile and you just start to put them out. And you need 23 knives total to kill Caesar. And so you're playing out cards. Oh, somebody played a 3 knife. Here's 3. Oh, there's a 5, 8 knives. Oh, here's a dove, 2 doves. Now
your dove cancel them out?
Dove cancels them out. So in our game, man, I forget what it came down to. There were so many doves that the person who was the opportunist needed to have played like 30 knives or something at the end of the game to be able to sway, what actually happened.
Wow.
And so, we ended up not killing Caesar. So that was interesting.
Nice.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Definitely a good live play, a lot of accusations, a lot of, I wonder why you did that. But throwing people off your scent, it's really, really, really fun. Nice. I really enjoyed this.
I'm eager to try this one.
Yeah, 23 knives. Definitely check this out. I think it's still on Kickstarter for a few more days.
It's late pledges.
Oh, it's in late pledges. And they plan on releasing it retail, I think, at some point. But then I think on March 15th is when they hope to get it out for the Ides of March, which I thought was cool. 23 knives definitely was a highlight.
Better than Apiary.
I don't know.
All right.
I don't know. They're two different animals.
Sure.
All right. What do we got here? Oh man, I got like 5 minutes.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
All right. Sorry guys. Speed round. Rock Hard. We played Rock Hard, but we did not play the whole game. Rock Hard was definitely one of the games that was out on the tables the most. There were 2 copies in the library at all times, and they were almost always out. That being said, the reason why we didn't finish the game was we did have it out, and then we sort of had to take a pause for food, and we didn't want to just keep it sort of there in limbo and hog the game while we're not playing it. So we played a few rounds to get a feel for it and then put it back. Everything that everybody said about this game that I've heard is true. It is a worker placement game that is dripping with theme. There's different places to go. There's ways to play these different gigs that are maybe sometimes really awesome, but sometimes they're really lame, and so they hurt your reputation a little bit because you went play like a bar mitzvah or something like that. There's daytime actions, there's nighttime actions, and there's after hours actions. We can go hang out at the clubs and get a little messed up, and that might affect some future turns on there. Components off the charts, amazing. You've got this amp as your player area with the dials that go up to 11. And then you've got these little special abilities and, your craving meter is how much you want the candy to help you keep going.
Yeah.
Really, really fun. little hard to read some of what was going on the board in terms of like the colors of what you needed to pay versus what the reward was. But once you figure that out, it was definitely good. So would play it again because I didn't get a full play of it. Definitely up there for favorite experience. But definitely one I'd like to check out in full.
We will.
All right, one more game and then I'm out. We did a couple more roll and writes, but then finished up. The last one we played was called Art Society. I think I had seen this game once in a video, but didn't really think much of it. But I really enjoyed this one. In this one, you're going to be bidding for different pieces of artwork to put into your own personal display area. Well, you're still on.
Yeah, you got to reshare.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Hang on. There you go. I miss all of Rock Hard.
That's so you'll do like it's similar to El Grande, where you play a card number and then everyone's gonna reveal the number and whoever has it is gonna do the first thing, take the first thing.
Got it.
So you're trying to bid on and draft these different art pieces, put them into your display, while sort of being very aware of the adjacency. If you have similar colors that are touching, that's going to be negative points. Empty spaces are going to be some negative points. But what's cool about this is you're not just like randomly bidding on these paintings, because every round it's someone else's turn to select the pictures that are going to be up.
Oh, so you're picking
for bidding.
Okay,
so you're picking like the sizes that you want. Yeah. So you're picking the sizes that you want to put out. As you can see, there's some pretty large ones. And then there's even some little like just sort of tchotchkes that you can use to fill in some empty spots and things like that. There's also, you can kind of see it on this picture, there's this sort of middle section of your wall that's basically eye level. So you want the best paintings to kind of be there because they're going to score you more points at the end.
Interesting.
The way that the points work is interesting too, because it's sort of like this changing market value of the colors. So when you do the draft, there's always going to be one painting that nobody takes. Whatever that painting was that's left over, that color is going to go up in value that many points. So then at the end of the game, you're going through, how many greens do you have? Well, every green is worth 4. Oh, we have it in the center section too. Okay, then there's that. So yeah, that was.
I feel like I've seen this game before.
It's a Mighty Boards game.
Yeah,
and we've seen their booth at PAX Unplugged last year because they had this. They also had a Hamlet.
Yeah, which I own.
Oh yeah.
And I like Hamlet.
Yeah,
again, beautiful looking game.
Yeah,
which I have the expansion coming for too, so we should probably play that.
Okay.
But I've seen I just remember. I actually remember the cover. Like I remember the cover, the box cover for this one. So
it looks interesting.
It's cool. It's it's a spatial thing, obviously, but the whole bidding thing kind of has a little twist to it.
I like that.
And you're really worried about where things are going to go. There's, like I said, there's different color symbols of like red, green, blue, and yellow, maybe. But then there's also different frames of each one.
Yeah.
And so the frame types you want to be adjacent because that gives you a benefit, but you don't want the same color to be adjacent.
That's interesting.
It's pretty interesting. That's how you get the little tchotchkes.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, Daria, by the way, with laying them out.
Yes.
Yeah, but this way, I like this better because
real time.
Because I think the real time I lost some of the, and I know you could play fit to print without real time, but fit to print made I understood why they had a real time component to fit to print. This I like that you seem to have a little bit more time, but I like that bidding.
Yeah,
that bidding piece is.
And then they're coming out with Rebirth this year, which is a Knizia game.
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
definitely one I'd like to try.
And that's
a blitz of all the games I played at the Dice Tower Retreat.
It sounds like you had a blast.
I did have a really good time. It is an event that I hope to return to again. It's a difficult time of year. It's around Labor Day all the time, which makes it a little harder for travel for some folks. But it is a really good time. I think Apiary was probably my favorite game that I played overall. But again, Fox Experiment, Forest Shuffle, there was some good ones in there.
Let's get Apiary today with all three of us.
I'd love to.
There we go. Really before we go, really quick, I will just say next week, Call Aboard. We're gonna have 2 weeks in a row of Call Aboard since we didn't do Call Aboard this week. But next week, Call Aboard, we're going to be talking
best ocean games.
So games that involve, as long as there's an ocean involved in some aspect.
Yeah,
Player board,
I guess.
You know.
So that's all the requirements. Is
Yeah,
water in the game? It counts?
Look, convince us.
Are we doing a top 10?
Let's do a top 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right,
convince us why it's in your top 10 best ocean games.
Yeah. But we're talking ocean games.
Harumphs, we'll hear in the chat.
Harumph.
Harumph. I think I got a harumph out of you.
Hey, you. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Bye, y'all.